You said bell peppers and beef.
His name's Asimov Sorensen. Are you listening to me?
There's no beef in here. So you wouldn't really call it bell peppers and beef now, would you?
Yes, I would.
Well, it's not!
It is when you're broke.
All right, so we are suffering a pandemic. I never knew what the fuck a pandemic was. I just always knew about an epidemic. I didn't know that was a fucking word until this week. All right? The bright side, Rodney and Nick, is the fact that I'm getting to catch up with a lot of shows that I've been really, like, way back on, bro. Like, yeah, obviously there's no sports, and that sucks. But in light of that, I'm getting to catch up with anime. I'm getting to catch up with some of the shows that I've been meaning to catch up with. I caught up with fucking Dave, Lil Dicky's new show. I caught up with the new season of Curb Your Enthusiasm. That shit's fucking hilarious. I finally listened to you motherfuckers and actually got into fucking Castlevania or whatever. So I'm in the second season of that. So there's definitely a bright side to all of this mass hysteria. So, I mean, thank you, coronavirus. I can't go outside, but I get to watch some good TV and some good content, bro. So what's up with y'all boys, man?
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Rob, man. Herb, you know, it's so funny, bro, because this coronavirus thing just happened out of nowhere, bro, and it's just incredible. I'm gonna be completely honest, man. Like, I just miss my sports. Like, I miss my NBA. They're gonna delay baseball, but like you said, Herb, if there's one thing that's been able to keep us all afloat, it's the flow of anime. And My Hero. You told us, Herb. You were hyping it up way before this season came out. You said y'all gonna like what's coming, and of course we knew. But when we got what we got, bro, it was fantastic. What you say, Nick?
One of my favorite seasons so far, easily. Chisaki was a great villain. I thought the interactions between the Yakuza and the League of Villains was the most interesting part of the whole thing, how they kind of got double-crossed by the League, and the League ended up on top in the end. And then I just loved how Shigaraki got to stand over Chisaki and just fucking rub it in his face dirty and just take both his arms, bro. Mr. Compress came out like a G, like, boom, I told you I was going to get that arm, boy. And, man, Chisaki just, like, he knew everything was fucked.
Bro, that scene... Like, I've watched a lot of medium, a lot of superhero medium, a lot of protagonist, antagonist. My nigga, that's one of the most chilling villain scenes I've ever watched, bro. Because this nigga literally stands over this nigga after he has suffered his greatest defeat. He looks down on him and goes, he goes, hey, I'm going to take all the fruits of your labor. You know what? You like using other people's quirks, so I'm just going to take your arm. Like you said, Compress comes, pays him back for the arm that he lost, and then just leaves this nigga to just scream until he goes fucking insane, bro. Like, it was
armless.
Dog, like, that to me embodies what makes My Heroes one of the best new series that's out. Is because, like, you don't see that in really a lot of medium like that. Like, they develop the villains as much as they do the heroes. And now Herb would know more than we would. He's like ahead on like the villain, the metahuman liberation army. He knows all about that. They reference that slightly in the series, but from what we got with the Chisaki arc, Chisaki was a badass fucking villain.
He was, man. He held his own as an interesting, fucking semi-complex character. He had a fucking ridiculously OP quirk that he used well. It's not like he was misusing his power.
Crazy.
He found great ways to fucking use that shit.
Hell yeah.
Like, Deku had to be at 100%, consistently being healed all the time just to fucking put up a fight against this guy, man. I mean, I'm not even going to say Deku, like, overwhelmed him. Like, that was a close-ass fight. They were going for a while. But I got to say, man, just seeing Shigaraki just gloat like that, it just makes me like Shigaraki so much more, dude. Because you just see, like, yeah, he's a villain, but he's also this petty motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, he even says it. He's like, I fucking hate you.
And you know what? It's not even just Shigaraki, bro. It's it's what do they call it? The nigga that can clone himself.
Twice.
Twice. It's twice. It's Toga, I think is her name.
Yeah, Twice and Himiko Toga, how they were just talking shit about the Yakuza the entire
dude.
time.
Like the way they rode for their guy, and then like that's one thing that.
Oh yeah, ever since Big Sis Mag got killed, they were just like, "Yo, we'll work with you, but
we gonna get payback.
Yeah.
we gonna get our get back, and that's one thing that I think this arc, man, and My Hero did so well, my nigga. It was just like they expounded on so many characters, like man, my dog Mirio, man. Like, tell me that wasn't a moment that touched your heart, bro.
bro, that
Like-
was soul wrenching."
Dude, like this nigga is getting the better of Chisaki. Fucking gets hit with that bullet, you know what I'm saying? Trying to protect Eri. And he still holds it down, bro, after he loses his quirk, dog. Like
Only
that shit
Mirio
was-
would try to save Eri from that, because honestly, if she would have got hit with that bullet, she would have been able to be a normal little girl.
Yeah.
Chisaki would have had no use for her. Like, there would have been no big fight. I mean, he might have just killed her. You know, he might have just, went ape shit. But I mean, he was killing everybody anyway.
Yeah. It's
So
true.
I was just like, Mirio, why, dog? Because he was so raw with that power, and just after, I don't know about you guys, but after I found out that he was the one who Night Eye had decided should have been inheriting One for All, I thought about it. And I was like, Mirio is a mirror image of All Might. The ridiculously upbeat, save everybody with a smile bullshit. Fucking same exact thing. Now, Deku's great. I love Deku. I'm glad he has the power. But it's going to take a lot more for him to be a symbol than it would for someone like Mirio.
Yeah, and I agree with that 100%. And I see a lot of people like, because I think me and Rod, and I don't know if you're in that group on Facebook. I think it's called Black Anime Nerds or whatever. And I hear a lot of
I'm
people.
not black.
Yeah, there's plenty of not black people in there too, bro.
Oh, I thought maybe they'd like look at your profile and be like, nah,
There's
dude.
plenty of non-black people in there.
Oh,
So
yeah, I'll probably join that then.
So shout out to them. There's a lot of good discussions on that actual platform. But I see a lot of people on the group always saying, "Oh man, it would have really been dope if Mirio was the one who inherited All Might, One for All." And I'm just like, bro, you don't get the point. Like, it's not about who's the coolest person or something like that. It's the fact that All Might saw a kid with no quirk not be broken by that. Yeah, he was shaking it up. Yeah, he cried about it. Yeah, it broke his heart. But he still wanted to be a hero without powers. If this guy would want to be a hero without powers, who is more genuine to carry on this power than him, bruh? You feel me? And I think that's the part that a lot of people miss, and I think that's the part that a lot of people don't get as far as the author's image and the author's vision for what the series is about. As far as when it comes to Deku, Deku is literally a genuine hero. He's one of the two people that Stain respects. It's Deku and All Might. Stain don't give a fuck about nobody else, bruh.
I will say though, if Stain had met Mirio, you don't think Stain would have respected him?
I 100% think Stain would have respected Mirio too. But what I'm saying is the fact that Stain, All Might saw somebody who 100% wanted what a hero is supposed to be without any of the vanity that comes with it.
Not only that, sorry to jump in.
go ahead.
Not only that, he saw someone who Deku wanted to be a hero without a quirk before he ever met All Might. You guys are kind of playing over the fact that Deku fucking worshipped All Might. Literally worshipped this dude. So he finally meets All Might and he asks him the one question that's been controlling his fucking existence since he was a child. Can someone without a quirk be a hero? Now, this guy's opinion means more to him than anyone else's opinion in the entire world. And he tells him no. He tells him, no, I'm sorry. You need to give up. There's no way. And as he's walking home, he sees supposedly his friend. I don't understand these anime relationships where some dude's a fucking asshole to you for like 10 years. And you're just like, that's my nigga.
Right? They have these abusive friendships.
But
man.
like, for some reason, he sees Bakugo getting his fucking ass whooped by this pussy ass slime monster. And everyone's just standing there like, oh, we need a hero. Mind you, 80% of people in the world have fucking quirks. People could do something.
Right.
Nobody's doing shit. And Deku, after being told by the person that he thinks is basically fucking Jesus, that he'll never be what he wants to be. His dreams are bullshit. In a nicer tone. He fucking runs out and tries to save the kid who's a fucking asshole. I don't get that part, but he does. Like, imagine, dude, you want to play basketball, bro, and you meet Michael Jordan when you're 10 years old, and he just tells you you're a fucking cocksucker and you'll never be shit. You're too ugly, you're too short, you're too whatever. Fuck!
Yeah. No, you're right, man. I mean, and that just goes to show Deku's strength of character. That goes to show...
That's exactly it. That shows that being a hero to him meant more than All Might's approval. And I think that's what made All Might respect him. More than him wanting to do it without a quirk. I think that conviction that, like, even when the person that he thought was the end-all, be-all, best thing in the universe told him no, he still didn't give up.
Nah, man, it's true. Before we shift gears to the main topic, and for those of you listening, we're definitely gonna get into some of the most notable 90s anime versus 2000s anime that's coming up. But I want to talk about some of the other characters too, bro, that got some growth in the arc, bro. Like Sun Eater, bro. That nigga's dope as fuck, bro. Like, this dude can eat whatever, he can use characteristics of whatever he eats, bro, which is an insane power to me. Kirishima, we got to see him have a nice arc, bro. And Fat Gum, shout out to Fat Gum, bro.
I loved Kirishima's arc, dude, because he was kind of a one-dimensional character at first. He just had this whole manliness thing. He just wanted to be this tough guy. And, you know, you could tell he was very earnest and he wanted to save people and help people, but he seemed one-dimensional. And then you get that flashback when he fights Kendo Rappa. And you just see, like, dude, in middle school, this kid, like, he wanted to be a hero, but he was such a fucking pussy.
Right.
Like, the few times he tried, he just fucked it up completely, or he completely froze. And you see how he idolized that girl, Mina, Shido, the acid chick.
Yeah, Pink Girl.
Yeah, Pink Girl. You see how he's just like, he models what he wants to be after her. And then you see he gets into UA and he completely changes his appearance and he decides he's going to be someone else. And fucking they have that conversation where she's like, oh, can I make fun of you? And he's like, no, not yet. And then they come full circle. He ends up going unbreakable, which is like his new super ultimate move. He just used it to save a bunch of people and defeat a villain who was on a hopped up turbo drug. So he throws on unbreakable, jumps in front of Fat Gum thinking, I'm going to take this hit. My boss is going to annihilate this dude. One punch shatters both his fucking arms.
Shout out to Kendo Rappa, who is like one of those obscure characters that probably won't get any more shine, but he was dope as fuck, bro. I love that motherfucker, bro. He was so ready. That shoulder thrusting quirk,
bro,
is
he
dope.
was about that smoke. He didn't even want the barrier dude,
Yeah.
bruh. He kept trying to fight the barrier dude, too.
Nah, man. I mean, that...
I loved Kendo Rappa, dude. And I thought that power shoulder, bro, that is an obscure fucking quirk that he turned into a fucking killing machine. You can rotate your shoulders at superhuman speeds.
Nah, it was
What the fuck?
dope, bro. And I mean, you know, that whole, I mean, I gotta tell you, man, they did a great job with this arc, man. I was anticipating this arc for the longest time. Just the whole story with Eri. I mean, you felt for her.
Wait. I got to throw a shout out to a couple more characters that didn't really get development, but still, I feel like deserve mention.
Of course.
Some of the 8 bullets. Larceny, that was a fly ass quirk, dude. Anything he's looking at, he can steal.
Yeah.
He's looping the third, bruh.
You're right.
Like, even Sun Eater's fucking shit. He would manifest things out of his body, and that dude could snatch him off his body.
Dude, what about the dude who had the feed power?
Yeah. How he's knocked out. Fucking Aizawa made sure to knock him out first. And they just yell out, it's time to eat. And he just wakes up and fucking everything is food, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and the only reason Sun Eater could beat them is because they actually were loyal to each other, and the feed dude wouldn't bite his homie. That was a little raw story arc they had there. I don't know. I just liked a lot of the characters that they had in the Yakuza clan. Like, the Yakuza overall, kind of lame. I think stealing people's quirks is a bitch move. Whatever. Plus, I'm Team League of Villains till the death.
I get what you're saying. It is a bitch move, but what else would the Yakuza do? Like, that's the perfect thing to do. Like, as a bitch of a move it was, like,
no, it makes perfect sense.
Like, the idea and the execution. Like, who would think to completely torture a little girl who has the most OP quirk in the series so far? And I'm a manga reader. I'm up to date. This bitch Eri on another level, bro. Like, it ain't motherfucking, like, she could literally reverse your biological makeup, dog. That's insane, bro. That's insane. So yeah, like, that is the perfect thing to do. The problem is that the fact that they made bullets out of this shit and just completely fuck you, like, they were only able to get 5 bullets. And it just makes me wonder, like, what the fuck were they doing to that little girl, dog? You see all the fucking scabs.
They were killing her.
Yeah, they were killing her, and her powers are so strong that she came back from the dead, essentially, bro.
No, Chisaki would reconfigure her.
Yeah.
You know they could probably just cut her, draw blood, and heal her within like 5 seconds. And just do that a couple times, and it would probably hurt a little bit, but it wouldn't be like fucking dying over and over again to some motherfucker in a plague mask.
Nah, that's why. And you see with Eri, like, she's like, if you guys are up to date in this portion, like, she's fully a part of the school, and you feel me? They took her in, and you see that she's acclimating to the situation a lot better than any other body else would do, bro. Speaking of that, though. Wait till y'all see that boy Hawk. That boy cold. That boy is... Y'all think this arc was hard? Man, the Liberation Army arc is harder than this shit, bro.
Bro, that's Redestro, right?
Yeah, that is Redestro.
He's the one who's got stress, isn't it?
Well, when it comes to Redestro, it's like he has the ability to morph into this super powerful, like a souped up fucking version of the Hulk, bro. But Shigaraki is just everybody that you see in the League of Villains and the Liberation arc, and this is for the manga readers. If you're listening to this and you're just an anime only person, spoiler alert, spoiler warning, fucking hit pause, hit skip. I don't give a fuck. Every single person that's in the League of Villains, they have a different level that they get to, because in that fight against the Liberation Army, they all have to have their own internal battles.
Awakening moments.
Awakening moments. Each one. Shigaraki is on another fucking level.
Yeah, he learns chain decay, doesn't he?
Bro, he doesn't even have to touch you no more to decay you, bro. You just got to be in his presence.
Oh, yeah, that's where you learn the backstory of him killing his whole family, too, isn't it?
Yes. And Twice actually gets more control of his powers, and his powers are way more OP than you could think, bro. Like, the Liberation Army arc, and then there's the arc with, what's his fucking name? The number 2. Why am I having a fucking brain fart?
Wolfram?
No. Number 2 in the fucking Hero Academy, the Heroes.
Oh, Sun Eater?
No. Number 2, like fucking the guy right under All Might with the fire.
Endeavor.
Endeavor.
Oh, the Endeavor agency arc.
Yeah. Nigga. Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't Endeavor end up fighting no moves and shit?
Bro, the no moves that they have now are like souped up versions, and their conscience. Like, they have more self-awareness and they're smarter. Like, the one that he fights, bro, like, Endeavor and Hawk, like, Hawk is the youngest number 2 ever, and it's deserved, bro. Like, I don't think you'll see him. You're going to see him at the end of the season. Jesus, bro. Like,
what's his quirk?
His quirk is that he's basically Angel from, like, X-Men.
That's it?
Yeah, but he has total mastery. So since he has wings, but he has total control of each feather, and he could do whatever he needs to do with each feather. You feel me? So if he needs them to act as blades, if he needs them to act as something to save you, he can fly at like supersonic speeds. Like, he's dope. Like, he's legitimately fucking dope, bro. Like,
so he's Harvey Birdman, attorney at law.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So yeah, we could talk about fucking My Hero all day. Speaking of that, before we end, We're 20 minutes in. This is a terrible job of us even explaining what the actual point of this fucking podcast is. So I'm sorry. The point of this podcast was to figure out what had a stronger roster of animes. Would it be 90s animes or the 2000s animes? And this just went to a fucking My Hero Love Fest, which is cool because this season deserved it. And to me,
Shout out to Gentle Criminal too. Obscure, yet.
yeah. That's filler. That's filler.
Oh, that's fiddle.
No, it's not filler. It was in the manga. Everything that you see is a manga, but it's a filler in the manga. I should
Honestly,
say.
that was an enjoyable filler. Like
Yeah.
I like that little school festival thing because I personally don't mind learning more about the actual school and the other students and shit. I find that interesting. And Gentle Villain, yo, Elasticity was the fucking reverse gum fruit, bro.
Yeah.
He could
Yeah.
make everything else gum.
Yeah.
Like that was fly as shit.
Like everything that you're seeing, everything is technically canon, or I'm not gonna say canon because it's all canon, whether it's filler or not. But everything that you see is a part of the manga. But the manga had its own filler and had a filler arc. But even though that was good, like this whole season was good. I thought it was gonna be 12 episodes because I didn't think they were gonna animate all that shit. But once I saw that they got to the fucking Yakuza arc by episode 10, I'm like, oh, okay, they're gonna animate everything, bro. You feel me? And speaking of My Hero, I just want to touch on other stuff that I've been watching or stuff that's currently before we get into the actual meat and potatoes of the podcast. I'm really fucking pissed, bro, because the Demon Slayer movie was supposed to come out in fucking January, bro. The trailer came out in October of 2019. The movie is still not out. What the fuck? What the fuck is going on, bro? Bro, I've never seen a anime like try to completely throw away its own hype, bro. That movie should have been came out, bro. Like, you feel me? I don't know. The movie was supposed to come out in January, bro. The movie was supposed to come out the same year as Mob Psycho Season 2. Mob Psycho Season 2 came out in January. The movie was supposed to come out. Then it was supposed to be in fucking February. It's fucking March, bro. We're about to be in April. This movie don't look like it's coming out anytime soon, bro. My mans just told me that Black Clover is getting lit, and I don't know why I'm not watching Black Clover. I should. And you know
it's a slow fucking start.
But that's the thing, though. I started with the manga before the anime came out because I saw the trailer for the anime, and I was like, oh, that shit looks fucking crazy, dog. So I read the fucking manga, and I got up to like chapter 30. And I was like, all right, let me stop and watch the anime. And then the anime turned me off, but I heard it got way better. You feel me? And now my man's was like, yo, the last 2 chapters of the manga is crazy, nigga. You need to catch up. So, Rod, before, just go ahead and talk your piece because I know you watch Black Clover, bro.
Yo, bro. So Black Clover is kind of like the anime I watch with my sister. She stops by and we catch up on that shit. And, bro, like for shonen anime, my nigga, that shit has way more twists and turns than you would ever fucking expect, dog. Because it starts off like with this arc, it was based on the Eye of the Midnight Sun, which was a terrorist mage organization. You find out that they were really they're elves, right? And the elves were completely wiped out by humans. Come to find out, and I'm just gonna, it's a lot to get into, so I'm just gonna, and this is spoiler alert, by the way. Fuck it, I'm just gonna fucking spoil it, bro. It turns out that the humans and elves were fucking hoodwinked by a fucking devil. And first of all, the devil is OP as shit. He has a magic called Word Soul Magic, which is basically anything he says can come to life. So he could be like Storm of Blades, and you'll just have every fucking a portal open, and millions of swords will just fall out of that shit. Like this nigga's magic is fucking incredible, dog. And it's just there's so much that fucking goes on. Like you find out that there's this bird that follows Asta throughout the entire series from the beginning, the bird Nero. You find out that Nero is actually the cursed assistant to the original Wizard King. So Nero, for whatever reason, I guess because of the demon's presence, awakens sort of, and she goes and she awakens the original Wizard King, Lumir. So then you get to see the original Wizard King, you get to see the original elf nigga, Light. They fight against the devil. Fucking Asta, you find out that Asta is inhabited by another devil that's even more powerful than the devil that they fight, nigga. because that devil before Asta kills him is just like you're a fucking loser. Like he basically just tells him he's a fucking loser, bro, and it's just awesome. I don't know, man. It's a lot that goes on, bro. And even after the arc, it goes like left field. So after everything happens, Asta and Yuno, they defeat the devil and all that. Asta gets put on trial because the government basically for the Clover Kingdom wants to cover up all the deaths because the Magic Knights during this war that they have with the elves, a lot of them were fucking under elf control. They were like inhabited by elf spirits. So they had their bodies, but their souls weren't in them. So basically, they attacked Clover Kingdom. So now the fucking Clover Kingdom government wants to cover it up by saying, "Oh, since Asta has devil powers, he was the one that put everyone under a spell to attack the kingdom." So they bring Asta to fucking court. They basically trick him into using his powers. All the rich people start chastising him, and then his fucking crew, the Black Bulls, break through and they're just like, "Yo, y'all not gonna fucking take our nigga, bro. We're not gonna let you take this nigga. If you're gonna take Asta, you gotta fight us." So then the fucking Wizard King, who you believe to be dead because he fights light, you find out that the Wizard King used an ancient item that was made by the first Wizard King. He basically put his time magic into it, and he was able to store 13 years worth of his energy. So when he died, he was able to be reborn as a 13-year-old. So the Wizard King, who you believe to be dead, is back. And he basically saves Asta and the Black Bull's ass, saying like he's putting them on a special mission to hunt down more information on the devils and shit like that. And because Clover Kingdom went through this whole war with the elves, you have the Spade Kingdom, you have the Diamond Kingdom, and there's another kingdom. They're all now seeing how weak Clover Kingdom is, and they're all plotting to fucking attack them. Like that shit is getting crazy, nigga.
Nah, that's this crazy part is like my man's told me, he was like, "Yo, bro, you gotta read Black Clover, bro." And the anime kind of turned me off, and I was like, but I started seeing some panels because you know me, I'm a manga guy, like because I just like to get my shit like boom, 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 and I'll be seeing panels. And speaking of just mangas in general, like shit that I love, nigga. One Piece is fire right now. Black Clover is fire right now, nigga. My Hero is fire right now, nigga. Fucking Samurai 8 is fire. That's Kishimoto's new manga. You know, the creator of fucking Naruto, bro. Fucking One Punch Man is fire right now, nigga. Like, everything is getting off, bro. Like, this is a perfect time to be an anime fan, bro. All right, okay. Now we're 30 minutes into the actual episode. This is terrible time fucking management, but fuck it. This is great conversation. All right, so boom. The actual point of this episode that we wanted to do, this is the anime show. This is the Couch Bros podcast. We are long overdue for a new anime episode, anime-inspired episode. We should have knocked one out a long time ago, but we're here now. So I do want to talk about, you feel me, what we were having a conversation in our own personal group chat. And we were just talking to people like, yo, what's a harder fucking era, bro, as far as for quality animes? Is it 90s or is it the 2000s? You feel me? Like, obviously the 2010s is bumping right now. You feel me? With Black Clover. You feel me? Boruto could be even better than Naruto if they stuck strictly to the fucking manga, because the manga is absurd, but you feel me, it is what it is. My Hero is a part of the 2010s, Demon Slayer, all this kind of shit, you feel me? Technically, even One Punch Man, but we want to keep it from the shit that we grew up with, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're all in our 30s, 30 or late 20s, so we bridge the gap. And I was just thinking about this before I even got on the podcast, bro. Like, we're technically 4 decades into being anime fans, bro. 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and now we're in the 2020s, bro. This is crazy. I can't see myself stopping watching anime no time soon, bro. Like, it ain't stopping. I gotta see One Piece through. That's one thing. My greatest fear is I'll die before One Piece is done, bro. Like, I can't go out like that, bro. That ain't happening, dog. You feel me? So I do want to just go ahead and take this time to just like break this down. You feel me? Like, to revisit and to bring up the Black anime nerds. I know I had made a post, and a lot of the feedback was kind of split. You feel me? It's like a lot of people appreciated the 90s anime, you feel me? And I think a lot of that's nostalgia, but the 90s animes has some strong fucking hitters, bro. But then you look at the 2000s animes, and you're just like, fuck, bro. 2000 animes has some of the greatest animes of all time, bro. So it's about pick your poison. Like, what do you want from an anime, dog? And just to like talk about the 90s animes in general, first I want to talk about the difference between the two eras. And then I want to have a further discussion about the similarities between main characters, specifically in a shonen art form. You feel me? Because shonen is obviously the most accessible. It's the most watched. It's the most one that, because it's far ranging, it's the easiest to get into. You feel me? You got to be a real anime fan if you want to get into the shoujus and the seiyens and stuff that's more adult, stuff that's more mature. But if you're just a regular casual fan, shonen is what you want to go for. And I want to go ahead and see if there was really a difference between 90s shonens and 2000 shonens, bro. So let's get into it, bro. Like some of the 90s animes, bro. DBZ, off rip, bum. You feel me? Cowboy Bebop, arguably a GOAT contender, bro. Trigun, which is my personal favorite anime, and can't even think of how many times I've seen it, bro. Like, I could watch that over and over to the day I die. Yu Yu Hakusho, bro. Rurouni Kenshin, my nigga. Gundam fucking Wing, bro. Like, Berserk. Even though Berserk isn't really a shonen, it's just one of the great, great stories, great, great animes, dog. And at first glance, you're like, oh, 90s is washing 2010s, bro. But then you think about it. The 2000s has Inuyasha. The 2000s has Yu-Gi-Oh! The 2000s has Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. 2000s have Samurai Champloo, Death Note, Bleach, Naruto, One Piece, bro. Like, this shit is not easy, bro, at all, dog.
When I was putting the list together, bro, like in the beginning, I thought to myself, I was like, man, 90s, man, God, there's so many heavy hitters for the 90s. So many of these shows that I could watch with like every episode. I wouldn't even skip an episode. Like I could watch Trigun from start to finish. I could watch Cowboy Bebop from start to finish. Don't even get me started. Big O, which wasn't even on the list. That's another one. Was that 90s? It had, definitely 90s, bro. Lupin the Third, they had a 90s version, but that's more like a 70s. Like that shit goes way back.
Yeah, that shit goes way back.
Yeah.
There's a Lupin for every decade.
Yeah, there's a Lupin for every decade. So we excluded that one. But when you look at the 2000s, man, Full Metal Alchemist, whether you watch the original anime or you watch Brotherhood, which is more faithful to the manga, bruh, is that top 5?
Yeah.
That's like a top 5 anime all time. I mean, Code Geass is one of those animes people are split on. I'll be honest, I didn't watch the second season, so I guess I can't have a complete opinion. But the first season of Code Geass is the shit. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Like the first couple episodes are slow. By the end of that season, you're just like, what the fuck? Death Note, bro. Light L, like that is one of the greatest battle of wits we've ever seen in any medium. I mean, I don't know, guys. Like when you're picking, like if we were to rate, like how do we do this? How do we rate these? Are we gonna go by each one and be like 9, 10, 8? You know, like how do you choose? Because I mean, 90s have Gundam Wing.
That's mad subjective. We can't do it that way.
Yeah, you're right, bro. It deserves better than that. But I mean, the 90s and 2000s though is just, you know, Gundam Wing, G Gundam, two of my favorite Gundam series. But arguably, my favorite Gundam series is Gundam 00, which came out in the 2000s. Gurren Lagann, which is one of the great mecha anime. Gurren Lagann is one of those animes that starts off and ends in a way that you could not possibly imagine. Like, niggas start throwing galaxies at each other and shit. Like, that shit gets fucking wild.
All right, so just to keep it more focused, what I want to do, because like you bring up a bunch of fucking good points, dog. I want to go ahead and just talk about each era independently, like just, you feel me, devote time and see like what is the core strengths of that era. And then at the end, we'll just be like, okay, we got to figure out some type of fucking overall what was better, dog. Because I'm just looking at the 90s right now, bro. And I have my own reason, and I'm going to detail my personal reasons why I really am fond of the 90s in general, bro. But some shit that I didn't even think of, dog. Esclaflowne, bro. Digimon, bro. Like, dude, like, 08th, fucking Perfect Blue, Blue Gender, Golden Boy, dog. Like, shit that you really like, just a lot of dope ass fucking animes, and you just like, golly, bro. Like even Monster Rancher, even Shaman King.
Yo,
bro.
shout out to Monster Rancher. I used to watch that every morning before school.
Dude, Monster Rancher was Digimon before Digimon. I don't know which one is older. It seems like it's older, but it's just
I feel like Monster Rancher came out first.
I hope so. You feel me? And we could always be. Hopefully, we get this right because we're gonna get tore down.
I saw Monster Rancher first. I don't know.
All right, never mind then. That's the power of fucking Google. But it's just all that.
Digimon's right there.
Yeah, let me see Digimon right here. Did you?
Oh, they came out the same year?
They came out the same year, both 99, bro. So it's just like there's so much fucking anime, dog. Like I think what makes 90s anime so special is the fact that everything was hand drawn. You feel me? And I think to me that's the key difference because like Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner, right? The fact that it wasn't shot with the best fucking equipment available, it gave us its own characteristic. The fact that everything is hand drawn, the fact that everything has to be on a specific film because of limitations of animation at that time, it gave it its own grit, its own character. To me, there's not that much of a difference between mid-2000s animes and 2010 animes as far as the style, the look, the color palette. I can't feel like it's different. You feel me? Full Metal Alchemist doesn't look that much off than fucking Bleach. Bleach doesn't look that far off than Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer doesn't look that far off than fucking One Piece from the early, it's like in the 2000s range, bro. If I see a 90s anime, I know it came out in the 90s, bro. The art style, the hue, the grain on the film, the choppiness. Like it looks, it doesn't look amazing, but it feels amazing. It feels more authentic. It feels like a unique experience when you watch it, which is why so many of the animes from the 90s are timeless, dog. Like there will never be a time where I can't go out and watch Outlaw Star. There will never be a time where I can't go out and watch Cowboy Bebop. There will never be a time that I can't go out and watch fucking Trigun, Mobile Suit Gundam Wing. You feel me? Shit like that, Big O, like shit that we've already named, bro. It has such a unique feel to it. You feel me? The sharp lines, the boxy shoulders, the defined characteristics, the noses, everything is amazing about 90s anime in the uniqueness. The same way that people are fond of 90s hip hop is the same way that I feel like 90s anime gets respect. But 2000s ain't nothing to fuck with though, bro. Like 2000s doesn't have the uniqueness as far as look, but some of the greatest animes and some of the most impactful, influential animes came from the 2000s, dog. Whatever you feel about Naruto, bro, it has to be in your top 3 as far as a shonen, dog. It has to. It's too important, bro. It's too fucking important. One Piece is arguably the greatest anime of all time if you really get to the meat and potatoes and really dig into it, dog. From consistency, from storytelling, from writing, from characters, bro. That's the 2000s. Yeah, it came in 98, but October, that doesn't fucking count. That's 2000s, bro. Full Metal Alchemist, like you said. Death Note. There is no anime that floored me like the first episode of Death Note. The first episode is the hook. I've watched plenty of anime. Nothing compares to the first time I watched Death Note, and you saw how fucking L figured out that Light had to be in fucking Japan, bruh. Set him up for the trap, dog. I was floored. I was flabbergasted. I was like, oh my fucking God, bro. So yeah, that is just crazy, bro. Like, what do you got to say about that, Nick?
I personally really agree with the distinctive styles that you mentioned. I feel the same way about the 90s anime. There's just something about it. You mentioned the graininess almost. I know there's not really any graininess because it's not like on film, it's a drawing. But I know exactly what you're talking about. It's got like, I don't know, just the feel, man. Just it's got that feel. Like you ever watch a movie from the 70s? Doesn't matter what the movie's about, you know it's from the 70s. Before you even see any of the characters in their costumes or anything, you already know. Same way with fucking that vintage 90s anime, man. Like Cowboy Bebop. You can show me a still from, and I think Herb's right. A lot of the 2000s anime don't necessarily have that feel because they all kind of blend together. And it's not a bad thing. They blend together well. It's a dope style to all have. But they all pretty much have that style. And then when they did veer off, it was really shitty 3D animation. Like, I'm talking like Reboot and shit like that. Fucking horrible. So, I mean, I gotta agree with that. And I also gotta say, you know, as far as the heavy hitters, they both have a ton of them. And if push came to shove, I wouldn't be able to choose a decade, to be honest, because I've got so many that were my favorites as a young child from the 90s: Pokemon, Digimon, Monster Rancher, or even some of the ones that really got me into actual anime through Toonami and shit, like Mobile Suit Gundam Wing and Rurouni Kenshin, and then Yu Yu Hakusho on Adult Swim, Blue Gender on Adult Swim, Wolf's Rain. Like some of the kind of off the wall animes that made you realize, like, oh, it doesn't have to be fucking Goku, you know, blasting fucking energy memes out of his hands and shit. That really opened my eyes to it. And I gotta say, man, if we're going with like iconic, I'm gonna have to go with 90s simply because it's got Cowboy Bebop, it's got Gundam Wing, it's got Trigun, and 2000s has heavy hitters, like Herb said, but it's got the GOAT Trinity, man.
Man, listening to you two guys, I'm just sitting here thinking about, I'm just reminiscing. Like her mentioned earlier in the podcast about we're like 4 decades into watching anime. And you guys brought up some awesome points about both the 90s and the 2000s. One thing that I noticed about the 90s and 2000s in particular, though, when you look at the way the 90s animes told stories as opposed to the way the 2000 animes told stories, like when you think about the 90s main characters, it's like in the 90s, we were looking for like rebels and tough guys. Like, think about all the 90s main characters. You had Goku, a nigga who always wanted to fade. You had Spike. You had fucking Vash the Stampede, who was basically like Kenshin. You know, the pacifist who had that smoke for you. I don't think we mentioned Yusuke. Yusuke was always ready to bump. Like when you know, Gene Starwin, he was a fucking rebel. When you look at the 90s anime and the way they told stories, you look at like their main characters, like their leads, they were always like strong characters who were always, it was always just like they were tough guys who were always flawed, but you grew to love them. You know what I mean? And when you branch into the 2000s, they took a lot more chances with the way they were going to tell stories with characters. Like her brought up Death Note. They tell a story about a nigga who writes people's names in a notebook and they die. Like I don't think people realize what a literary fucking piece of fucking awesomeness Death Note is. Death Note is one of the rare stories where we get the perspective from the villain. We don't get that a lot. The 2000s took liberties with that. You have Full Metal Alchemist that took liberties. That Full Metal Alchemist was basically telling a real world story. Instead of using Germans and Jewish people and fucking, they just used Ishvalians and, you know, all the races they had. 2000s was not afraid to push the envelope, and they even took old concepts and made them fresh. They took pirates. Everybody knows pirates like to go on ships and fucking, you know, they sail across, they're looking for treasure, but Oda gave us One Piece, a story that just doesn't involve the greatest treasure people are looking for. They gave us an entire world, a government, different parts like continents, a history, devil fruits, you know, the Naruto anime, the whole ninja concept, Bleach, the whole Soul Society concept. So the 2000s wasn't afraid to push the envelope in the way they were trying to tell their stories, bro. And that to me is like, that's where the divide is for me, bro. It's just like, if you want more grittier storytelling, if you want like come on, bro, like the ending to Cowboy Bebop, bro, that's gonna invoke emotion out of any man, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Just seeing Spike get that conclusion that he was looking for. But then you can, on the flip side, you can go into 2000s and Samurai Champloo. You know, another story that was fucking a very well told story by the same people. Man, I always feel it just feels so good to reminisce about all these animes, bro. Like you grow up watching these series and you don't realize how much they impacted you, like how much they affected you. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, dog. Like it's hard for me to pick, dog. I know I'm chickening out, bro, but it's too beautiful.
I mean, you necessarily don't have to really pick a fucking era. I would say this though. I think there's a good conversation piece as far as, like I said, we mentioned earlier, when it comes to the similarities and the differences between a 90s shonen character and a typical 90s or 2000 shonen character. What you got? Let's go ahead.
Rodney, lightning round. Favorite anime? Go.
Rurouni Kenshin, hands down.
Yeah, what decade's that from?
90s.
Okay.
I mean, shit, bro. Like my favorite anime of all time is Trigun, but my second favorite anime of all time. Damn, it's easy to say what's your favorite anime of all time.
And that's why 90s is wins. Because it's easy to say what your favorite anime of all time
but
is.
if the other four come from the 2000s, does it win, bro?
Wow, you've got 4 fucking losers. What did Ricky Bobby say? Second place, what's that? First loser.
You know, Nick, I actually understand where you're coming from, but Herb, I feel you.
Oh, this is a hard decision. You have to make it. Fucking people are gonna die. Make the decision.
I mean, that's just one singular, like...
Make the decision.
Kenshin, easy, bro.
All right, then.
When it comes to your favorite, yeah, but that doesn't define, like, if I like
You
Kenshin...
hitting the iceberg or you missing the iceberg, bro?
But look, I will say this, dog. I will say this, man. If I were to describe, like, if you were looking for a certain character, if you're looking for the tough guy that is about that life, that is going to face things head on, the 90s had plenty of anime with those type of characters.
Quick question. Not really to prove my point, just curious, something that I'm curious about. You meet somebody, they want to get into anime. Say male, age 20 to 35. White, black, whatever you want. 3 animes you're going to recommend to them.
3 animes I'm going to recommend to them.
Like, I'm not recommending Kenshin. Like, if I'm gonna recommend animes, I'm gonna recommend something that not necessarily I would like, but shows the best of anime. You feel me? So I'm recommending Death Note because I'm gonna get the
I agree with Death Note, a 2000s anime.
Psychological thriller of it. I'm gonna recommend Cowboy Bebop. That's the 90s.
That's
because
my second one that I would also want.
Because that gives me storytelling, that gives me style, that gives me chic, that gives me the not cutesy kids bop thing that comes with the stigma of loving anime. The third, which to me I think could do the best, is because I could get all encompassing. I could get story, I could get flair, I could get animation, and I could get an adult theme, but kind of with humor, with a bunch of good fucking characters and good writing. I want to say One Piece. I'm going to say Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, bro. That's also 2000s, in my opinion. And that doesn't even count Trigun, which is my favorite anime, but that's not going to be for everybody. You feel me? I want to show the best of anime. And in my opinion, 2 out of the 3 that I'm giving came from the 2000s. You feel me? So that's just me, though.
I will agree. 2000s have more easily accessible anime for the average viewer. Because if you think about it, a lot of our favorite anime from the 90s are either kind of political or deal with heavy themes, such as Cowboy Bebop. The Gundam series always deals with political governments, world, all that bullshit. Fucking Rurouni Kenshin is based on the actual Meiji Revolution in Japan. It has actual historical roots. A few things are fudged around, of course, but it's got real historical roots. I mean, yeah, there's also Pokemon and fucking Digimon and shit, but like we weren't throwing those in the top 5 there.
Right.
Whereas like Death Note, while mature, shows a great non-action, non-shonen fucking boy protagonist saves the world bullshit. Like that's a great anime for anyone. You could show that to a 50-year-old, and if as soon as they get over the fact that it's a cartoon, they're gonna like it.
Yeah, that's it. That's really it. That's the only thing that would keep someone from.
It's a fucking travesty what they did with that movie. They should have just made like a fucking 4-part hour-long episode apiece with fucking Asian people. I don't know. I hated that movie. Although
Nah.
Willem Dafoe was good as Ryuk, I'll give him that. Like the animation was shitty, but his voice, if Ryuk spoke English, he'd sound like Willem Dafoe or Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, you're right. But it's funny, Herb. The as Bailey, our dog just jumps over Herb to get on the couch because she's a princess.
She's getting tired, man. It's late.
Yeah,
She wanted to get in between you and Uncle Rodney.
that's why I moved over, bro. That's why I scooted over, Fred. Don't worry, Bailey. We knew.
You on the covers, Booby.
So, Herb, the 3 anime that you happen to mention, when I think of people who don't watch anime like that, those are the 3 I always hear. Whenever I've talked to someone who never watches anime, but they talk about anime that they actually like, it's always Bebop, it's always Death Note. My stepmom is watching. She does not like. She watches Korean drama, which is basically real life anime. I don't know why.
Without cool powers and special effects.
Yeah, like you get better effects in the anime because they have animation, so they're at liberty to actually do some really cool shit.
I just don't understand. Like, I've seen some Korean animes, or not animes, dramas, and I've seen a lot of telenovelas. Why would you choose Korean dramas over telenovelas? The people are much more attractive in telenovelas.
Hey, to each their own, right? But,
It's the same storylines, bruh.
No, you're right, dog. You're right. But the one thing I will say when it comes to 2000s and 90s anime, the 90s anime will always be looked at in a better light because many of them have a longer lasting impact. For example, Dragon Ball. Still milking that fucking cow.
Well, is Dragon Ball 80s? I know Z
Dragon
is
Ball
90s.
Z. Dragon Ball Z is 90. Well, that's what I meant. Like Dragon Ball, and if you think about it, Dragon Ball Z is what's popular in the Western.
That's true.
hemisphere.
People don't really give 2 fucks about
You know?
Dragon Ball.
So Dragon Ball Z was what was popping in the 90s for us. It still has a lasting impact. There are some
Hell,
people,
we just got Super, yeah.
exactly. And not only that, there are people who never watched Dragon Ball. Imagine that there's a whole generation of people who watched Dragon Ball Z and they didn't even there are people who didn't know about Dragon Ball. Pokemon. That shit's still fucking going on. The games are some of the most popular games you'll ever fucking play.
Dude,
You
they
know what
have
I'm saying?
changed so much. I watched like a YouTube video on how to play one of the new ones. They got like 2 Pokemon fighting on each side at the same
Yeah,
time.
they got tag battles
There's
now.
like
shit.
fucking all sorts of
it's
shit. I
way
have
beyond
no
us,
idea
bro.
what's going on,
It's
dude.
way beyond. It's no more just 2-bit
Fucking,
traveling in
I
the
don't
tall
know
grass.
what the
nigga.
fuck is going on. I miss yellow version, dog. I could turn around and tell my Pikachu he was the shit.
Right, you know.
Man, love me. No
But
homo.
when you think about it, and then when you think about 2000s anime, what always gets the credit for inspiration, especially amongst the shonen? Dragon Ball. When you talk about Naruto, you talk about Bleach, you talk about One Piece. All those guys will say, "Oh, we were inspired by Dragon Ball,"
But not
So-
Full Metal.
No. Full Metal is in its own class, in its own well-written class. And then there's other 2000, we've been shedding some light on certain, there's 2000 anime we haven't even shown love to. Like, Inuyasha's a classic. Like, regardless of how you feel about it,
Ghost in the Shell, standalone complex.
classic. You know what I'm saying? We brought up Samurai Champloo earlier. Shit, I got the fucking list right here. I had a list that I made right here on my phone.
Honorable mention to Hamtaro.
You love Hamtaro, bro. That was, I think
That was my
Hamtaro-
shit.
That was 2000s. Yo, y'all know me about the sports anime. Prince of Tennis. Let me tell y'all something. My nigga Ryoma Echizen. Ice Shield 21. Slam Dunk, I think, is a 90s anime, if I'm not mistaken. It's a basketball. Kuroko's basketball might be 2010s. Yeah, but Kuroko's basketball is the shit.
Honorable mention to Ace of the Diamond. It's 2010s, but
Oh, I love Ace of Diamond, bro. That shit's fucking the shit. Air Gear, I'm not gonna lie, bro.
you know what we fucking completely forgot?
What?
Hajime no Ippo.
Oh man, I feel ashamed of myself. I'm so ashamed of myself.
Fucking love that
That's
show,
90s,
dude.
bro.
We fell off that, but case closed. Oh my God,
How far back
Conan.
does case closed go, though?
It's in the 900s, I think. It's like 970 or something now.
God damn, man. That's the problem when you're
I
doing
used to love that show, bro.
Dude.
And they would have mysteries that would span multiple episodes. It was the shit.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
It
And
wasn't just like a neat bow wrapped on everything.
Bro, there's so the beauty of anime is it doesn't even matter what fucking era you go in, bro. You are going to be satisfied. You go to the 90s, you're gonna be satisfied. There's so much good anime. You go to the 2000s, the 2010s, even now, they're still coming out with good ass anime. I still gotta get into Legend of the Galactic Heroes, Herb. You keep telling me to get into that. I'm definitely gonna hop on that. Just goddamn Finland Saga. We just watched the whole.
I'm telling you, Herb finally got on the wave. You need to watch Castlevania, bro. I'll rewatch that with you. That was fire, dude. That was a fire new show. And honestly, for an English show, really well voice acted.
This is, I don't know what this counts as, but I gotta throw this in there. Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm throwing it in there. It's one of those weird
Classic
it's 2000s,
right? Bro. That show, top to bottom,
bro.
classic.
Oh man, Legend of Korra, which I enjoyed, not as good as the original.
Never watched it. I heard it was decent.
No, it was good. It was good. I like the original more. Some people are divided on it. I like the original more, but it was good. I enjoyed it.
When it comes to actual Legend of Korra, like a lot of people don't like it for the fact that it was a female protagonist. You know how guys
I don't
are.
give a fuck about that, dude. I love Major.
Some people didn't like it because one, it was a sequel to the original Avatar. You know how people are. It's like, oh, we want you to progress the story. We want you to progress the story. Oh, you progress the story. Ew, we don't want that shit. Ew, yeah. So it got a lot of hate for that. I will say this about Legend of Korra. Legend of Korra had 10 times the amount of character development for the Avatar. Like what an Avatar is supposed to actually go through. You feel me? And I think this is what Aang suffered from, and I think this is a good transition point to the next conversation as far as the similarities between shonen characters. You feel me? Because even though it was an American cartoon, it suffered from a lot of the one thing as far as the shonen character archetype. There's no reason for you to get stronger besides you just really trying hard. You're always upbeat. You're always optimistic. You always look at the glass half empty as opposed to half full, or whatever the fuck the saying is.
Half full.
Half full. You feel me? You always want to believe in friendship and the power. So Aang suffered from that. And Legend of Korra she had everything given to her except the ability to master wind, because wind or air bending required somebody who was calm, who was patient, who was relaxed. You feel me? She was a prodigy. All her fucking personality traits, the fact that she was brash, the fact that she was headstrong, the fact that she was impatient, worked against what it took to become an airbender.
It was like when Aang was trying to learn earthbending.
Yes, in a sense.
But magnified.
But the thing with Aang was a journey to acquire all these different skills. You feel me? He had to work for everything. She didn't have to work for anything except for airbending because she was such a prodigy. She's technically a stronger and greater avatar than Aang ever was. Aang is greater because of the obstacle that he had to overcome. He had to fight.
Right, you're only as great as your biggest foe.
Exactly. Exactly.
It doesn't get much bigger than fucking Phoenix King Ozai and Fire Lord Azula.
Exactly. But when it comes to Korra was literally a prodigy. Like, she mastered everything by the time she was like 6 years old, and she could never get airbending. You feel me? Because it worked against all of her natural instincts. And that's why I really enjoyed Legend of Korra. And that's why I feel that it didn't get enough respect that it deserves, because the people who created it was like, you know what? Let's turn this shit on top of his head as far as what the shonen character is supposed to be. Let's make somebody who is brash. Let's make the main character, because the brash character is always the side character, not the main character, the character next to the main character.
I don't know, man. What about Yusuke?
But Yusuke was more of a I don't give a fuck. Yusuke was brash, but he always had a plan. He wasn't like headstrong. He was stubborn, but he always had a plan. He was low-key smart. You feel me? It's just he had an attitude was like, I don't give a fuck, I'm gonna get it done. But it's because it came from a place of I really know what I'm doing and I have a plan. You feel me? I'm just not gonna show it and then after the episode is done, you're like, oh shit, Yusuke actually had a plan this whole fucking time. You feel me? Korra legitimately was just because she was so good at everything. She thought she didn't have
Victim
to,
of her own success.
Exactly. She thought she didn't have to train. She thought she could fight people that were stronger than her.
Frieza complex.
Exactly. You feel me? Like Vegeta. Vegeta is brash, headstrong, all of these things, but he gets to be next to the main character. Bakugo is brash, headstrong, but he gets to be next to the main character. You feel me? What's the it's Kaiba. Yeah.
Don't you mean Joey? Joey Wheeler? Oh, Jonochi Wheeler?
Character in fucking Kenshin, the one with the fucking Sanosuke.
Sanosuke Sagara.
Brash gets to be next to the main character. You feel me? So a lot of times, and that's why I really enjoyed Korra. And I think people, instead of trying to pick it apart for what it wasn't, they should have really appreciated it for what it was. You feel me? And
that's the one where they had like the anti-benders, like people had rose up because they were tired of the benders.
They had
like,
the anti-benders.
society.
They had the blood benders. They had a lot of great themes. There's a lot of
Damn,
great
they had
themes.
multiple blood benders?
They had multiple blood. There was a whole society.
Katara
of blood
told
benders.
people how to do it?
Yes. So there was like a whole line of people besides her that Korra had to end up fighting. You feel me? So it was a lot of good themes in
Well,
Legend
yeah,
of
because
Korra.
she got taught by that one lady.
Yes.
And that lady fucking hated the Fire Nation.
Mm-hmm. So there, and
Shout out to that lady, dog.
that's what I want to talk about, like the actual shonen character. You feel me? Because I think because it has to be an all accessible character, the main character, they have to follow a bunch of fucking common tropes. I think that is the only weakness to shonens. But at the same time, is it a weakness because it has to be that way? The character has to be that way because it has to have a unified thing that draws young kids in. Because at the end of the day, this is for young kids, bro. That's what it stands for.
This is for grown
dog.
men. This is for real adult men who have jobs and pay taxes.
Well, a lot of them are, but the shonen maybe not. But I will say,
Bullshit.
Shinra
Kusakabe disagrees.
Shinra Kusakabe, the devil's foot. The thing when it comes to, well, you said comparisons, right? Herb, you want to compare. You're looking for comparisons in terms of likeness? Like, let's say we're comparing Goku.
When I say comparisons, I mean like legitimate shonen characters. Like fucking
Like
Death
how
Note.
Yusuke's an oddity. He's not.
Yeah, Yusuke's an oddity, but like, and we gotta really talk about shonens. Like, Samurai Champloo is not a shonen.
No.
Cowboy Bebop is not a shonen. Death Note is not a shonen. I'm talking about like legitimate shonen characters. I'm talking about Goku.
Pokemon.
I'm talking about Poku. I'm talking about Ash Ketchum. I'm talking about Deku. I'm talking about Asta from Black Clover. I'm talking about
Demon Slayer.
Ichigo from fucking Bleach. I'm talking about fucking Demon Slayer. Like, I'm talking about the stereotypical shonen character, and I want to see if there's a common theme because it's really looking like Yusuke is really the only eyeball, bro, out of that shit. For
Yeah,
real.
otherwise you got a basically positive, young, glass half full, power of friendship bullshit.
Well, I will say when it comes to a lot of the shonen, the primary theme, it seems, for shonen is self-improvement. What's one thing that every guy wants to do in these shonen series? Goku wants to get stronger. Naruto wants acknowledgement from the village, so he needs to get stronger. Ichigo wants to protect everyone he loves, so he needs to get stronger. There's very few shonen characters. You have the few characters in shonen. Like, there's a couple other outliers. Like Kenshin, for example, he was raw from the jump. The problem with him is he is his own limiter. He could fucking, if you really think about all of Kenshin's fight, he could have killed everybody he fought because he landed hits on all these niggas with his sword. He could have killed Shishio if he fought him with a real sword. He could have killed Janae if he fought him with a real sword, but he didn't because he has values to uphold. That makes him very different. I can't think of any other shonen character that's like Kenshin. You think about this is a funny one, but Yugi. Yugi is a weird one because he himself isn't good, but the spirit that inhabits him is literally the king of games. Like, if you duel this nigga, good fucking luck, especially if it's a shadow game, you're probably fucked.
Right, but that's not Yugi.
Right. Yeah, that concept. The funny thing about Yu-Gi-Oh is the end of Yu-Gi-Oh ends with Yugi fighting against the Pharaoh, which makes it weird. It's kind of like it is Yugi and it's not Yugi, and I'm not gonna get into that explanation because it's fucking weird. But when
But think of Yugi. When you meet Yugi, first episode, glass half full, power of friendship. Joey Wheeler's my best buddy in the whole world. We can do anything together.
yeah, that's I mean Yu-Gi-Oh, but that's
Nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying he fits
Right.
the mold. The
Yeah,
Pharaoh
that's right.
doesn't, but
the Pharaoh does. You're right. Yugi fits the mold. The Pharaoh doesn't. That's true. And the part of the story of Yu-Gi-Oh is the Pharaoh understanding why Yugi values his friends so much. Because in the beginning he doesn't understand that shit. He's just like, yo, why the fuck this nigga like fuck with these niggas so much?
yeah, lame.
But he grows to understand the love that they have for each other, shit like that. So yeah, I guess it falls under that trope. But Kenshin for sure. I mean, with Kenshin, you know, Kenshin is a guy who never really had a family. He gets his own pseudo family.
Yeah, aside from his master, he never really had anybody.
Right, exactly. But when you look at a lot of the other main characters, it seems like the common theme is these niggas have a reason to get stronger. Like Naruto, like man, listen, Naruto is one of the great shonen stories that will ever be told. That is the king of friendship is the key, you know, fucking Sasuke and Naruto's
Do you know how
stupid
great
relationship.
the show would be if Naruto just stopped looking for Sasuke as soon as Sasuke left the village? Like, after that Sasuke retrieval mission fails, if they're just like, you know what? He's his own person. He can do what he wants. And Naruto just progressed on his own path.
It would have, you know, the way, now that we know how Naruto ends, it gets really convoluted at the end, like with the whole Kaguya shit and the whole Otsuki clan. Like, it gets real fucking weird. They would have just been better off making Sasuke, like Kishimoto flashed his balls, but he didn't have the courage to like whip the whole thing out because he made it seem like he was going to make Sasuke the main villain of Shippuden in the beginning. And then he kind of just whipped.
Bro, they could have whipped it around as soon as it turned out that Toby was Obito. They could have had a little fucking Uchiha jerk-off session. Sasuke could be the real villain now, trying to take over. They don't even have to bring back Madara. They could just do Toby as the mastermind. And Sasuke is the new badass villain that they got to take down because he already proved he could stand against Kage. Ain't nobody stronger than these niggas.
Yeah, Naruto gets real convoluted at the end. But in back at the topic at hand, when we look at the shonen character, the common thread is, to me, in my opinion, is the whole self-improvement aspect. And another aspect, obviously, which is something that we often look for in our stories, a lot of these main characters, in shonen anime specifically, is underdogs. And you know what? It's funny because even though Kenshin is powerful, he is an underdog because his
He
story
won't let himself be powerful.
it not as much as he won't let himself be powerful as he doesn't deserve that anymore because he killed so many people. Like the whole point of his story is redemption. Like Kenshin is all about redemption. So to him, his story isn't so much as I need to get stronger as a fighter as much as it is I need to be stronger as a human being, which is why Kenshin is just my favorite shonen, my favorite anime ever. Because it's just there was just no story told like it at the time that I was reading that shit.
The only thing that I dislike about Kenshin is Kenshin has a great heart, but at the first episode, he had already gone through the transformation of deciding that he was going to be a good person. Like when he meets Kaoru, he's helping her immediately. He doesn't know her. Like, and I love that about him, but I think it would have been dope to show if it was difficult for him to transition from Batosai the Manslayer to this haphazard, you know, and I know they get into it in Samurai X, but just as someone who didn't get to see that until several years later because I didn't have internet because, you know, whatever, but I just thought that would have been really, really dope if even if it just flashed back to it. Like, you know, when in trying times, it would flash back to like a time that Kenshin was in a similar situation. And that was the time where he decided, you know, I'm going to put my, even just put the reverse blade sword away.
And I definitely agree with what you're saying, Nick. I will say this though, and I think this speaks to the advancement of anime now as opposed to what it was back then, because I don't think they had time to develop his backstory within 24 episodes or 50 episodes, I should say.
Yeah,
you
that's
feel
true.
me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because they had so much to tell. You know what I'm saying? And then I always like the fact that you had to create your own idea of who Kenshin was as a manslayer. You feel me? You because they always talked about it in the anime. You're like, wow, the 100-man slayer, this, that, and the third. You feel me? It's just like, okay. You feel me? Yeah, you got the actual visual representation in Samurai X. You're like, oh, this nigga was cold. This nigga was sick. You feel me? But there was always a part that I appreciated, and I get where you're coming from 100%, but you got to create your own idea of who Kenshin was. You could have made him the most habitual devil that he was and stuff like that. You feel me? So I thought it was just a decision where they were just like, all right, we want to leave it up to interpretation. You feel me? Because I don't think Samurai X was ever going to be an idea, but because it became so popular, they were like, let's just keep giving these people more Kenshin. You feel me? And whatnot. And that's how Samurai, because I don't think they were ever going to really detail the depth of who he was before he became a reformed samurai and a reformed person.
I will say, sorry to cut off, but I gotta admit, that's one thing I do really appreciate is since I didn't really know how raw Kenshin is, they do a really good job throughout the majority of the series hiding just how raw Kenshin is. Because he struggles a few times with some of these fucking lame-ass opponents. And you're like, yeah, he was killing a bunch of people, but like, how good really was he? And you don't really realize until he has that fight with Saito just how fucking cold he really was back in the day. Like, that blew me away, because Kenshin is so goofy. I always figured he was like, I had this image in my mind that he was a manslayer, yeah, but like he fought for like what was right and what was just, and this. No, man, he was killing everybody.
The one thing I'll say is, since we're talking about anime, this doesn't apply, but I gotta throw this out there. It will always, because Kenshin is my favorite anime and manga, it will always kill me that we never got the final arc to the manga animated, bro. The final arc to the anime is just filler. Like, the final arc in the manga explains how he gets the scar. I mean, you see, they have the Samurai X OVA, you've seen it. So they explain, like, they shrink it. But there's a whole arc that is just as good as the Juppon Gatana arc with Shishio. And you get introduced to Kenshin's main villain is his brother-in-law, which was his wife's ex-wife's younger brother, who absolutely despises Kenshin because he believes Kenshin did kill her. I can't say he believes Kenshin did kill her, but he never understood why. And Anishi seeks out to torture Kenshin. And that arc itself is just, it fucking kills me, dog. It fucking kills, because that arc itself really completes, it basically puts everything full circle that you watch in the first two arcs, bro, of Kenshin. But since we're talking anime, I won't get into that.
You got any other points?
Nah, man, we pretty much covered it.
All right, I think we definitely covered everything. I think we covered a lot and didn't cover anything at the same time. We just fanboyed, which is cool, because that's the whole. When people ask me why I love anime, I've been talking for an hour and 14 minutes with you guys, and I can't really pin it down to one thing. From some shows, it's animation. For some shows, it's art. Some shows, it's the story. You feel me? And I really hate the fact that people don't understand that anime is the same thing like a TV show. It's just drawn, bruh. You feel me? Like
Some of my best friends are anime characters.
yeah. Hey, real talk, bro. Like, real shit, bro. Like, honestly, dog. Like, you could watch a TV show, but you can't watch an anime? Why? Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense to me, bro, at all, bro.
Bro, I dare anyone to watch Death Note or Full Metal Alchemist and tell me it's not a good story. You can hate it because it's a cartoon. Okay, cool. Tell me you watch any show that's better than that right now. I'm sorry.
All it is just it's a different form of a medium that's just with talented people who have to draw it. You feel me? Like especially when it comes to Japanese, like these people have to voice act. They have to literally get into character while not being on set, bro. They're just reading off of a script, like legit, bro. So it's so much things to like about anime, bro. Like, I don't think we answered the question, which is better. Like, to me, this just made it even harder to answer the question. Like, honestly, before this podcast, I was like, all right, I have a good idea which I prefer. With all the points that you brought up, Nick, with all the points that you brought up, Rod, I'm even more confused, bro. Like, this shit is hard, bro. Like, so we spent a whole hour and some change, and I didn't get to an answer. Nick has his answer. He feels it's the 90s. I'm not sure about you, Rob, but I don't have a fucking answer, bro. Like, I can't pick. And that's the most bitch ass cop out way, but I legitimately can't pick, bro, because both eras are so strong for completely different reasons, bro.
Nah, Herb, I agree. I mean, I can understand Nick picking the 90s. I mean, bro, before we started even doing this, the 90s was the easy choice because a lot of my favorite, I mean, the 90s just has such a lasting impact, has so much influence on what came after it. It might be kind of hard not to say the 90s, but the 2000s took what the 90s started and they flourished with it, bro. Like, they took it and they ran wildfire, and it's continuing. The beauty of anime is, regardless of what you feel like is your favorite era, it gets better and better. We're getting awesome stories now. Like, come on, you mean to tell me Vinland Saga wasn't epic? Fire Force, Demon Slayer, Promised Neverland. We're just getting so many, Black Clover. We're getting so many good stories now that the 90s anime and the 2000 animes helped pave the way for. And at the end of the day, whether we pick 90s or 2000s, bro, I think we should just be thankful that it's just, we get more. We get the 20s. The next time we have a debate, maybe it'll be the 2000s and the 2010s. Who knows? But the beauty of anime is we have a plethora of options, bro. It's beautiful.
I mean, I couldn't say it any better myself, man. So it's another anime episode, bro. Hopefully we get another one out a lot quicker. You feel me? Because I really enjoy doing these. So any last words?
Your boys have been drinking that Appleton. We about to smoke a fatty after this shit. Had a great time talking about anime as always.
I just want to sign off and give everybody a quick recommendation. One anime, one not anime. If you're looking for a quick 12-episode thing to bang out with a fun story, check out Drifters on Hulu. It's an anime. Really good, really quick, not too deep. Great action, funny storytelling, good characters. If you're looking for something that's not anime, but you like sci-fi shit, the second season of Altered Carbon came out, starring Anthony Mackie, also known as Falcon from the Avengers. And I read all the books that the series is based on. I gotta say, they did a pretty faithful adaptation. Of course, they changed quite a few things, but they changed them in ways that are not offensive to the actual source material. And it came out really good. And I gotta say, just from watching this, Anthony Mackie is gonna be able to carry Captain America.
If you guys, to add to the recommendations, Cells at Work. To me, that's probably one of the best animes that came out.
Rod's always plugging Cells at Work, man.
Cells at Work, bro. Like, bro, I will tell people that is the only reason why I passed Anatomy too, bro. Like, that shit is so fucking accurate, bro. Like, it's amazing.
That's dope. That's what I liked about Dr. Stone. I could actually learn something watching Dr. Stone.
And here's the crazy part. As good as Dr. Stone was, Dr. Stone, it's like, it pales in comparison to Cells at Work. I've watched both. Like, and you know what? Maybe because I'm not into, like, that form of science. You feel me? I'm more into biology. Like, maybe if I was, like, into, like, actual science and stuff like that, I would, in chemistry and shit like that, it would hit harder with fucking Dr. Stone. But, bro, Cells at Work is, like, it is a pitch perfect, bro. It literally got me through class, bro. Like, so I will plug that shit forever, bro. So, Anime Episode 2, Couch Bros Podcast, deuces.